Good morning or afternoon for some of you. This is Paul Monroe, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to meet with me today. This is all for your benefit. You're going to learn a whole lot about cybersecurity and hackers and how they think and what they're doing to ruin our lives and what you could do to protect yourself from it. Today, I'm going to show you how I've been able to help a lot of organizations and individuals, just like yourself, drastically reduce security risks. I think a lot of you are going to be totally shocked at what I'm going to share with you, but the good news is that you'll all know about these threats and you'll be able to protect yourself and your organization against the growing army of cyber criminals who are working every single day, every night to hack your systems, to steal your data, corrupt your organization, and make your life totally miserable. So briefly, here's what I'm going to talk about today. So today, this is what we're going to cover. The number one security threat to your business that antivirus firewalls and other security protocols can protect against. Number two, the shocking truth about bank fraud that most businesses don't know about that can wipe out your banking account, and simple steps to protect yourself. And why firewalls and antivirus software are useless against the new threats that are happening today, and how mobile phones and cloud applications are seriously jeopardizing your organization's security and data protection, and what you need to do to protect yourself. What I'm going to show you today is how to avoid being a sitting duck to cyber criminals and protect everything you've worked so hard to achieve. I'm sure probably all of you have seen some of these things or know someone that this has happened to, like the fake virus page that shows up when you're on the internet that tells you to call a number immediately or they'll erase all your files, or the fake emails that you get that are called phishing emails. We'll go into that a little bit later. They have fake logos from, Citibank, B of A, Amazon, Gmail, the list is endless. Or how about the fake IRS calls or fake calls from Microsoft? I'm sure one or some of you or all of you have heard of or seen or experienced at least one of those. In fact, one of my employees fell for a scam the other day from the fake water company about how they were going to shut off his service unless they pay the bill. So these guys are everywhere. They're trying to attack us from all angles. So we'll go into some examples of that later, but I'm sure all of you experienced at least one of these. If so, click on the chat window or the Q&A at the bottom and just type yes. Just type yes in there if you've seen one of these or experienced one of these yourself. Yep. Okay, a bunch of people have already typed in yes, so I know we're on the same page. Now, before we get rolling here, I know there's a lot of you that already know me and I know you, but there's some of you here today that I've never met. So for you guys, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Paul Monroe, and the company is iTechCare 24/7. We are an MSP, which stands for Managed Service Provider. We proactively help individuals and businesses keep their computers and networks safe and operational so you don't have to deal with it and you can focus more on your business. I've been in this business for over 25 years and I have seen just about every scam out there and know how these hackers work and think. And I'm here today to educate you and give you more awareness on how to deal with today's multi-trillion-dollar world of cybercrime. Just to give you an idea of some of the clients we work with, let me share with you a couple of profiles of some of the companies that we do work with. These are two companies that we are currently working with, and they've been with us for many, many years right now. On the left, Trojan Storage. The owner of Trojan Storage is Brett Henry. Really, really great guy. Maybe he's on this call. Hey, Brett, if you are. We just see eye to eye on things. He needed some really good proactive IT services to help him with this company. And he has said, we had two big issues on our server in the last 5 years. One was with our accounting data, QuickBooks, and the other was with our general data. Thank God you were in charge of our backups. We lost zero data. Brett actually got hit with a virus that encrypted every single file on his server. We were able to track that down, found out where it came from. One of his employees accidentally downloaded a file from their own personal Dropbox. We'll talk about that later. Encrypted everything on their server. We were able to block that whole once we figured out where it was coming from, and we were able to recover all of his data in a very short amount of time. On the right-hand side, we have a good friend of mine, Derek Emery. He's the owner of Cash for Used Cars. If you're looking to sell or buy a used car, he's the guy to call. He was also being nickel and dime to death by IT providers, and they just weren't doing a very good job for him. And he mentioned that knowing my computer system is monitored 24/7, I don't need to worry about viruses, spam, or cyber attacks. Makes me very comfortable again living in this digital world. I highly recommend them. So we were able to do wonders for Derek, centralize all his data, get a good backup system for him, and let him feel, comfy and secure knowing that we've got him covered and he could focus more on his business. Now, why am I urgently informing you about this now? I will tell you, over the past year, there's been a significant increase in the sophistication, the frequency, and the severity of cybercrime attacks, which we'll be covering in a minute. But because of this, we've been watching these trends and putting in place new technologies, protocols, and services to protect our clients. However, many of the things that worked even 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, are no longer effective. So we have to always stay on top of things and come up with new ways to protect our clients. The attacks are becoming more frequent, more vicious, and carrying a much bigger payload and much bigger consequences. This is why I'm talking to you today. This is very real and a very serious threat that is escalating. We urgently are contacting all our clients and holding webinars like this to educate you on what's going on. This chart is just to give you an idea of what's been going on just in the past 4 years. If you look at the bottom of this chart, starting at 2014, the number in the pink area on the top line, 800,500,000 in financial losses. That is a big number. $800 million in financial losses because of cyber crimes and hackers and all the things that they're doing to destroy our lives. But if you look and you go up 4 years, this is escalating at a rapid pace. And just 4 years later, that 800 million went to $2.7 billion for a total in 4 years of $7.45 billion in total losses. I don't know if you or your friends or some of you know may have been a victim to one of these that added to that statistic, but these are real numbers and it is getting worse. As I said before, these attacks are becoming more vicious and more frequent. For the first time in history, cybercrime is now the most prevalent type of crime against businesses because it's lucrative. There were 137.5 million new malware samples in 2018, and we're already at 25 million new samples in 2019. There's so many more viruses and malware that's out there. They come out every single day. And I'm going to show you how to protect yourselves from these new viruses. In 2018, 93% of malware was polymorphic, means that it has the ability to change its code to evade detection. So they're faking us out. They're sending us things that look legit and we're clicking on them thinking that it's okay because they're able to hide and morph themselves into things that, we're comfortable with. They know how to do this. These cyber criminals are very, very smart and they're vicious. So we have to always make sure that we stay a few steps ahead of them. And by the end of this webinar, you're going to know how to do that. So if it's so common, why don't you hear about it? Hear more about it? Well, we do hear a lot about it, but we don't hear about all of them. And there's a few reasons why. Number one is it's extremely embarrassing to admit that you've been hacked, especially if you have to admit that to your clients. Many people don't even know they've been hacked until it's revealed in a risk assessment, or if you're one of our clients, we'll call you and let you know that someone has infiltrated your network and we've got it covered, we got it taken care of, and this is the reason why it happened. Or we notice that you're just clicking on a whole bunch of things that are viruses and you just keep clicking because they won't download. We won't let you do that. We won't let you download those files. So we'll give you a call and let you know that that email you're trying to download or that file you're trying to download is malicious. It's horrible PR. Do you really want your clients or patients to know that their information was accessed? Probably not, so you're not going to tell them. Some of you will, if you're honest. You just let them know what's going on. You let them know that we got you covered. And the legal ramifications, fines, lawsuits, legal fees can be significant. So that's why a lot of this stuff stays on the hush hush. And the people, employers are just embarrassed. They just don't want to admit it. They don't want to advertise it. So the statistics that we are seeing are just the known ones, but there's tons and tons and tons, millions if not billions of unknowns that we don't hear about every day. This is just a quick overview of some of the cybercrime businesses. There's so many of them. There's internet scams, hacking scams, the fake phone calls that we get all the time from the IRS, from fake Microsoft. There's sextortion scams that they send you by email and try to get you that way. They're just trying every possible way to get into your network, into your system, into your life, to steal your identity, steal your credit card, steal your passwords. And this is what they do every day. This is their job. The tools have changed, but the underlying motives are still the same: theft, fraud, and then blackmail. Nothing has changed. Let me talk about this for a little bit. So in the old days, and this is still happening today, it wasn't just the old days like the cowboy days, but it's still happening today. The cybercrime business, it was pretty simple. You bought a gun or a knife, you hide out in a dark alley, and when someone would walk by, you'd jump out and say, "Stick 'em up," right? And you'd take all their money and their wallet and everything else they had, their credit cards, their briefcase, their pocketbooks. They would just stick you up one at a time. The startup costs and the overhead were low, and if you didn't get caught, you'd be okay. But of course, just like any business owner, these guys are running a business. These criminals started thinking, how can I grow my business? Of course, technology answered that question. Thank you so much, technology. We really appreciate that. Well, trains came along, right? And instead of robbing one person at a time, you could rob like 200 or 300 people at a time. And robbing trains was far more lucrative than robbing individuals, because these trains were crossing remote areas. They weren't, being enforced by local police forces. Another thing was that the individuals that rode on planes were wealthy enough to afford a train ticket, so they were worth robbing. And they were rounded up and sitting at one convenient location. Well, today, thanks to today's advancements in technology and an ever-increasing trend of storing financial and personal information on third-party platforms like even your bank, Dropbox, Facebook, the new train robberies are now cybercrime related. Now think about it for a minute. If a criminal wanted to rob 100,000 people at once, they could do it the old-fashioned way. Well, today, all that's needed is a hack into a single large platform like Gmail or Google or Facebook, something like that. And they use advanced technology to instantly rob millions. And there, as you could tell by the increasing number of attacks, that makes the news every single day. This is a very interesting story. 80 million people were hacked in the JP Morgan case. This is a serious business for hackers, not just a hobby. They're working 365 days a year to steal data, to sell on the dark web. We're going to talk about the dark web in a little bit, and siphon money from your banking accounts and your company. I don't know if you remember this incident that happened, a few years ago. But it was the credit card hack. It wasn't just one person stealing a credit card. It was one person or a small group of people who stole tens of millions, estimated 80 million personal credit cards and 7 million small to medium businesses in one fell swoop. Now think about that. Never in the history of mankind has any one person or small group of people been able to rob so many so quickly and in one fell swoop. Remember Target not too long ago, where all those credit cards were hacked? I mean, if you shopped at Target, you were probably a target. And that's how easy it is for them to get into these systems. These guys are smart, so we have to be careful and be proactive about it. We're going to learn more about that as we go along here. Here we could see a chart showing 147 million people hacked. That's a big number. I mean, when they sell information on the dark web, they're selling your name, they're getting your date of birth and using that. They're selling your social security number to steal your identity, getting your address, phone numbers, driver's license, email addresses, credit card numbers, tax IDs, I mean, the list goes on and on. They're going to steal your tax refund by filing return with your name, open credit cards, and take out loans in your name. And they're going to create highly targeted phishing scams by email to, force you, or not force you, but kind of fake you out into clicking on links in those emails so they could steal your bank account information, get into your computer and your network. Some of you might be thinking, well, this ain't going to happen to me. I'm just a small p. Wrong. It will happen to you if you don't take the right steps. It's just a matter of time. That's why the statistics are so high, because of all the people who thought it would never happen to them, and it did. Some of you might be putting personal information on Facebook or, some other social media sites, or you might be going to dating sites. And when you do this, if cyber criminals hack into this data, they could blackmail you by exposing your sexual preferences, online dating history, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not the morality police here. I'm just your local IT guy trying to keep your data and your information safe. But you got to be really careful of what you put out on these social media sites. For instance, if you put out maybe on Facebook, hey, I'm going to be gone for a week, can't wait to go to Hawaii, the whole family's going, blah, 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 blah. Well, if somebody's looking at that, not only are your friends going to know that, but there's also going to be hackers knowing that. And then all of a sudden your house gets robbed and you're going to try to figure out how in the world did that happen? Well, you just let a whole bunch of people know on a social media site about your personal life, and that's how they found out. So be really, really careful about what you post on social media. The cybercrime business is a huge business. So what's motivating them? The number one motivation is money. This is a business, but without the overhead, taxes, or problems most legitimate businesses face, because they're doing this stuff overseas and they're just about impossible to track. So if you get hacked or something happened to you and you try to contact your local police and let them know this, that some guy in India might have hacked into your computer, there's no way they're going to do anything about it or be able to find these guys. Trust me on that. Anyone could easily buy training tools and services for committing fraud, hacking systems, buying stolen credit cards, set up fake websites, etc. Now, credit card details sell for $2 to $90 on the dark web. iTunes accounts sell for about $8. Physical credit cards sell for about $190. One successful ransomware hit for a business is worth $2,500 to $50,000 per incident. Even an amateur can expect to make $80,000 a month stealing and selling data. Not a bad job, huh? Maybe I'm in the wrong business. Those are jokes, folks. These are jokes. A point to make here. So now you could buy credit card details, social security numbers, number of other programs and devices and software that allow you to set up your own crime ring. It's a thriving business. You could buy software to help you do this and automate things. There are businesses online who sell hacking software with a complete help desk and customer support, and even have guarantees that if the software doesn't work, allowing you to hack at least X number of businesses and PCs, you get your money back. They even sell viruses. It's fun, right? Do I have your attention yet? Hopefully I do. Now we're going to get into the real good stuff here. So what is the dark web? I know a lot of you have heard this term before. I'm going to explain to you what it is and how it works. So the dark web is a separate hidden part of the World Wide Web that is concealed from conventional search engines where cyber criminals operate. So search engines like Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Internet Explorer, I'm sure you guys have heard of those and you're using them. Those are like your window to the internet. Those are your TVs to access the internet. Without those, you wouldn't be able to search for anything, hence the word search engine. You could search for things. Well, these cyber criminals use different types of search engines that are really not known to us, and that's where they could operate anonymously in the dark web. They use it because they can operate anonymously, just like I just said. They could do it secretively without anybody being able to find them or trace them. It's estimated that the dark web is 550 times larger than the World Wide Web, and it is growing. That is a crazy, crazy number. So let's get into it a little bit more of what these guys are doing and what it looks like. This is basically the dark web analogy, something that I pulled off the internet just to give you an idea of what's going on. The tip of the iceberg there is the internet as we know it, that we could see. We could physically see it. We know from Chrome and Firefox and Edge, we could just pull up one of those browsers and be able to surf the web. The rest underneath is what we don't see, and this is where all the criminals hang out. You need special tools and browsers, like I mentioned before, to access it. And I'm not even going to tell you how to get there, because it's like sending you into a dark alley. But below the surface is where all this criminal activity takes place. They sell credit cards, identities, passwords. It's literally like a candy store for cyber criminals and hackers. I also want to mention that if you wanted to do a dark web scan yourself, I believe you could do a Google search for it. And I think Experian is now offering that, so you could sign up for that and just see if your information is out there. But going forward here, but we're small, nobody would bother to hack us, right? Wrong. This is very wrong. 1 in 5 small businesses fall victim to cybercrime each year, and that number is growing. Half of all cyber attacks are aimed at small businesses. So you might be thinking, well, I'm just a small business. I'm not a Target or JP Morgan, so no one would want to hack us, right? Wrong. Think about it. These larger companies, they have very sophisticated security systems in place. They're a lot harder to hack. Therefore, if they're getting hacked, right, and they're getting, then, like JP Morgan, Google, Facebook, these are large businesses. So if they're getting hacked, then you could imagine getting into your business is like a cakewalk, which is why you are a bigger target than these bigger, larger institutions. The prize might not be as big, but you are far easier to rob than a larger institution, making you a very prime target, right? It makes sense, right? And since the cyber criminals have all these automation tools, they can make a large sum of money simply targeting a few hundred or thousand small businesses. It's a lot easier to do that than target the big guys. I'll also add that they're really not attacking you personally, but they're just throwing a bunch of fishing lines out there from a large boat. This is how their technology works, and the programs that they're using and the tools that they have, that's how they work. It's like throwing a bunch of fishing lines out from a large boat, hoping to catch a few fish. And as we know, they will catch you at some point in some way. It's just a matter of time. So you should all be on a proactive monthly program to protect yourself from these threats. It's like having an insurance policy for your computers and network. And all of you guys out there that are on our monthly program, congratulations. Give yourself a little pat on the back there. You're already taking the first step into being more proactive and secure and safe about your computers and your networks. So let's move on here. Stealing money isn't the only motivation. They can quickly and easily sell stolen client data that they swipe. They sell this stuff on the dark web. They can use your server for sending spam emails, processing stolen credit cards, or hosting illegal software and content. You guys might have seen or noticed you might get an email from somebody saying that, hey, check out my picture, blah, 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 blah. And then you call up your friend and say, hey, I saw the picture you sent me. And they say, I didn't send that to you. And then they realize that their email is being sent out from who knows who it is, but from another source in your name. We might have also seen, let's say you get an email that says, oh, hey, this is your friend so-and-so. I'm stuck in Siberia and I have no money. So we got robbed. Can you send me money? I'm sure you've seen that one before. These are some of the other ways that they these hackers use to get your information and to steal your stuff. They're in it for the fun, bragging rights. Hey, I did that. Remember that thing on the news you saw where I hacked 5 million people? That was me. Ha ha ha, high five. It's not very funny. But that's what they do. This is sometimes they're not even in it for money. They just want to prove they can do it. They feel a company is doing something they don't agree with. Maybe they're a hacker and they just don't like what you're doing. So they're going to try and hack in and disagree with it and, ruin your life, ruin your business, ruin your network, delete all your files, whatever they got to do. And they steal secrets and confidential information that can be sold to competitors. So the key point here, just because you aren't that worried about your information being stolen doesn't mean that your customers' information and privacy are less valuable to them. This is for all you employers out there. What are you doing to be a good steward of their information? What if your clients or patients found out how casual you were about keeping their personal information safe? You think they just shrug it off? So for all you business owners out there, make sure you call us so that we can make sure that your client data is safe and that you are compliant with all laws related to it so you don't get into any trouble. The biggest danger to your network and your computers is you and your employees. You're probably not surprised by this because somebody usually clicks on something and gets you into trouble. Do not underestimate the importance of addressing and protecting yourself from this threat. Let me tell you something. Here's a little fact. Most fire alarms are sold to people who have already had a fire and they've lost everything. Most home security systems are sold the same way after someone has already violated their home, stolen things, shaken up their sense of security, upsetting their wife, their kids, and all of those people never thought it would happen to them, which is why they didn't have an alarm system on their house in the first place. Now, I'll tell you a little story here. Our house was robbed about a few years ago. The whole entire house was ransacked. And after that, I got a gun. I secured my house with better fencing and gates. I got security cameras and an alarm system. The only thing I regret, I just wish I would have been more proactive about it earlier. So the statements here are very, very real. It's not fun to get robbed. So you want to make sure in the same way with your computers that you're very proactive about it. Don't think it won't happen to me, as it will. Now we're going to talk about the 3 biggest threats to your organization right now and how to stop them. So pay attention. We're really going to get into it now. The absolute number 1 threat to your business is, can you guess? Your employees. That's right. Even good employees make mistakes, deleting files, clicking on phishing emails, or innocently logging into a compromised Facebook page. They don't do it maliciously, it's just a mistake. Employees often use free and unsecured file sharing applications and cloud applications to share confidential information simply because they don't know any better and they don't think to tell you about it. We could put systems in place to make sure that we block those sites and block those employees from accessing those to make your computers and your network a lot more safe. With more and more people using personal devices for work, the perimeter of your network can easily be compromised and is harder to protect. So using your personal Dropbox account at work, that's a big risk. And doing anything on your work computer that is personal related is also a big risk. And accessing your files, your work files remotely from your own personal computer at home can also be a threat. So if you think that you have a hole in this area, give us a call so we can help you close these security gaps. Unsecured mobile devices are another threat. One laptop is stolen every 53 seconds. That's just unbelievable to even think about. 70 million smartphones are lost each year with only 7% recovered. 80% of the cost of a laptop is from a data breach. 52% of devices are stolen from office workplace and 24% from conferences. Those are some big numbers and things to really think about and things to really be more aware about when you're in these situations. So how many of you have mobile phones? I'm sure all of you have one. Or you have a mobile phone, you have your iPad. This is how a lot of people are computing right now. They're getting rid of their computers and they're going smaller. So how many of you use them to access your company email? How about your employees? How many of you have a password on your phone? A remove kill switch to wipe it if it's lost or stolen. Here's a little fact, something you could write down and remember. iCloud, if you have iCloud, has a way to lock your phone and even wipe your data even if it's lost. It could find your phone. If you lose it, it could send a message. You just log into iCloud.com and say, I lost my phone, and it'll find it for you, or I want to wipe my data, or I want to lock my phone. This is a really good way to take the first couple steps in securing your data. I could tell you right now, I have lost my phone several times. I went to iCloud.com, clicked on Find My Phone. Sure enough, it shows me the location where it is, and 99% of the time, guess where it is? Right in the crack of my, no, I know what you're going to say. Listen, right in the crack of my seat, between my car seat and my center console, right in my car. That's where I found it most of the time. And I'm sure you guys have lost your phone there also. So come on, don't be laughing at me. You also have done it. Now, malware for smartphones is also increasing. Viruses on your smartphones. The criminals are finding ways to do that as well. Over 60% of online fraud is accomplished through mobile platforms, and 80% is carried out through mobile apps. I don't know if you guys remember, like years ago, there was a flashlight app. Now most phones already have flashlights built in, but there was this app, a flashlight app. You just press a button, it turns on your flashlight. Well, that actually had a virus in it and caused a lot of pain for a lot of people. You have to be very careful as more and more apps are being targeted. Hackers they're always looking for new ways to get your data and ruin your life. What else are they going to do? They need to feed the kids, and this is easy for them. So you have to understand, they don't care one bit about you or your life. They're going to look and try to attack applications that you use all the time. So just watch the news, watch for our newsletters, things to be aware of, and just stay on top of the game. So besides money, the other reason why these guys do this is for malware. They'll put malware on your computers and ask for a ransom. So they'll encrypt all your files and say, if you don't pay me a certain amount of money, you're not getting your files back. And a lot of people pay these guys. I don't know why you would want to do that. You should just have a more proactive backup in place to restore all your data if that happens. But why would you want to give money or information or your credit card to a criminal that just stole from you? It doesn't make any sense. 350,000 new malware threats are being released per day, and malware attacks rose 79% just in the past year. So you could see that this is not getting any better. I mean, you can't just think a simple firewall and antivirus is enough these days, especially the ones you go out and buy at Best Buy for $39.99, or now they even give them away for free with the computers like WebRoot and Kaspersky. These antivirus programs are nearly not enough. With the proliferation and the sophistication of these attacks, having a firewall and a very simple antivirus like that is trying to stop a tank with a squirt gun. You have to have layered protection. Remember that word, layered protection. I'm going to talk about that right now. Now I know this is a very funny slide, but our little buddy on the left from Friends, he is layered. He's got plenty of protection to go out in the cold. Unfortunately for the guy on the right, he does not. So he's not very well protected by the cold, but it looks like he's kind of sleepwalking, so he probably doesn't even know what's going on there. The point is, you have to have layered protection. You got to have your hat, your earmuffs, your scarf, your thermal underwear and pants, a flannel shirt, very warm pants, a winter coat and gloves. This is a good way to protect yourself from the cold. Well, you need to layer your security the same exact way. Just like layering for a layering for a cold winter day. You wouldn't just walk outside in the snow with your underwear like this guy, right? Computer security is layered the same exact way with many different components like routers and switches and firewalls and antivirus protection, layers of security on those firewalls, and more layers of security on your computers. You also need spam protection, website protection to protect you and your employees from going to websites that they shouldn't go to, email protection, two-factor authentication, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I mean, you get the picture. The more layers that you have, the safer that you will be. This is a chart that I got from a good friend of mine, Rob Bowles from Blockworks, and he highlighted that the ones in dark blue are a necessity for every single business. If you're one of our clients, we've already got you covered here. And for all you home users, most of this is very, very important. If you have any questions about it, please give us a call and we'll go through it with you. But just going through the chart real quick, next generation firewalls. For all you business owners, you have to have not just a regular firewall that you buy at Best Buy, again, for $39.99. You have to get a firewall that you're going to pay some money for. You get what you pay for. Next gen antivirus protection, not the basic stuff that you can get at Best Buy like I was talking about before. Something called DNS filtering that'll block your employees from sites they shouldn't be going to. Getting all your Microsoft and Apple updates and patches, a very good backup system, a password manager, user training for your employees, two-factor authentication, network assessments, and dark web scans. These are all necessities to keep you safe. This is how you layer your network. Ransomware is on the rise. Well, we know that. We saw some of the statistics and the numbers already. A writer once asked a literary agent, what kind of writing pays the most? Her answer was simple, ransom notes. On the right, you could see a picture of something you might see on your computer. Access to your files and private data has been locked. Someone will say, give me a call, or they're basically going to hold your ransom. Unless you pay that $300 and give us your credit card information, we're not going to give you your files back. Well, who's to say if you put all your information in that they will give you your files back? This is just a total scam right here. And usually they're just fake web pages. I'll show you a couple examples of that in a minute. Here's another example of something you might have seen on your computer. Warning, your computer is infected. To remove viruses, call tech support online now. Well, this is a total scam, and we could usually get rid of this in probably 10 seconds. As long as you don't call that number and you let some unknown person into your computer and start clicking around and throwing viruses and keystroke loggers on there that will record everything that you type on your keyboard, like passwords and credit card information. As long as you don't do that, you're safe. But they're trying to tell you, and some of them will even say, do not close this window or do not restart your computer, or all your files will be hacked, all your files will be deleted. It's just a scam. It's just to get you to call that number so they could start performing the scam on you and start stealing your data or start stealing your identity. If you get something like this on your computer, just let us know. Give us a call. We'll get rid of this for you real quick. These guys have infected the entire internet, so these windows are popping up more and more. Here's another one, the inheritance scam. In fact, I just got one of these just the other day. So it's a scam. Hi, I'm James Francis from Florida, USA. I was the personal accountant officer of the late blah, 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 blah. And, he's got a whole bunch of money, like 20 or $30 million. Yeah, in this case, it was $20 million. They can't find his next of kin, but hey, if you give me your credit card information, your bank account information, your phone number, your name, your number, your email address, and give me all your information, I will send you a good portion of this money, like $5 to $10 million. Sounds good, right? I mean, I don't know anybody who would fall for something like this and see how obvious it is, but this is the kind of stuff that's going around. As we've talked about a little bit, we also have seen the fake IRS scams or the fake Microsoft calls. They'll call you. I've gotten these IRS calls so many times that they say, we're from the IRS and you owe $10,000, and if you don't give us the money today, then somebody from the IRS will be at your doorstep the next morning at 8 a.m. And I usually say, that's cool, send them on over, I'd like to meet them. But the Microsoft is the same way. They'll pretend that they're working for Microsoft. Oh, we're the Microsoft support. You have a virus on your computer. I need to access your computer in order to get rid of it. These are just scams. They don't have any of your information until you let them in your computer. So make sure you don't fall for these calls. What I do sometimes is I act like I'm hard of hearing, and I give them such a hard time that they take me off their list because I'm just wasting their time. They're just trying to get you to get into their computer. The IRS scam is the same way. The IRS will never call you and tell you that you owe money. And most of the time, if you try to call these people back on the phone numbers that they give you, they're disconnected, or they can't be reached, or they're just Gmail, generic Google phone numbers that they get somewhere. Perfect way to pull off these scams. And that's all they are. They're just scams. At the end of the day, most of the time, they are looking to get money out of you. And they're not going to be successful most of the time, but the times that they are in a single day, week, or month is very lucrative for them. The sad part about it is that a lot of these people that are working for these scam companies are also being scammed. They're thinking they're doing a good justice. They're helping people with their viruses on their computer, etc. But they're just being scammed into working for these people. Other times, there's a situation where these people are being forced to work for these criminals at sometimes gunpoint. I'm not kidding when I say that. I've seen articles and I've heard about things in the news that these people, these so-called scammers, are begging to get out of these jobs, but they can't because they are being threatened, and their lives are being threatened, and their families' lives are being threatened. This is very real, but these people are begging for help. So not all of these people that you talk to are actually bad people. They're being forced into it to do it against their will, which is really sad. Things are getting very tight here. The government fines are escalating for businesses. If a device is lost or stolen and the data was not encrypted, you may have violated a data breach law. This is very real stuff. So the FBI has taken this very, very seriously. In this article, a medical imaging company to pay $3 million to settle HIPAA breaching impacting 300,000 patients. There's a lot of doctors out there that are not complying with the HIPAA laws. They're not in compliance with it. They're getting into trouble. They're trying to cut corners, trying to save money. But as soon as that data is breached, they could be in big, big, big trouble. Personal information is considered a person's first name or first initial and last name in combination with a driver's license number, social security number, or any information including logins and passwords related to financial records, credit cards, access codes, passwords, etc. If you're holding any of this information on your computer, you have to comply with the laws, especially if you're a doctor or you're in some sort of finance position. If you have anything to do with patients, you know who I'm talking about. You have to take care of this right away. Give us a call. We can help you with that. So the number 3 reason why they do this is bank fraud. The FDIC does not protect you from bank fraud, and the bank is not responsible for getting your money back once it's stolen if it's your fault. Now, if you remember on Hawthorne Boulevard a few months ago, maybe a couple months ago, the Chase Bank, a car ran into it, the whole bank caught fire. Now, if that's the case, I'm sure they have something in place where all your data is okay, all your money is safe, and you're going to get it all back. They're not going to blame you for that. On the other hand, if someone hacked into your computer and they put a keystroke logger on it, and they're watching and capturing everything that you type on that keyboard, including your bank information, and then they decide to go to your bank and siphon out all your money, well, that's your fault. There's not a whole lot that the bank is going to be able to do about that for you because you were negligent. you didn't take the proper steps into protecting your computer, or you let somebody on your computer that stole the information. Try to tell that to the bank and say, I want my money back. They stole $10,000 from me. They're not going to be able to do anything for you. It was your own fault. Think about that. So you got to be really careful. Don't just think that if you lost your money in your bank, that they're going to be able to protect you from that and give your money back. They won't. With that said, look at the title here. Don't let your business pay the price for bank fraud. Banks are prevailing in cybercrime cases. Plus, you might have to pay the bank's legal fees if you sue them. So again, if it was your fault and you didn't protect your computer and you let somebody into your computer and they find out about it, there's no way that you could prove that the bank was negligent unless, like what happened with Chase Bank. Everyone knows a car crashed into it, and you should be entitled to your money because it wasn't your fault that happened. It wasn't the bank's fault either, but they understand these kind of things, and you're probably protected in that way. But if you were negligent and you didn't take the proper steps and be proactive about your computer and your security, and your money was siphoned out because of that, that's on you, not on the bank. You will lose every single time in court for that. The true stories of cybercrime. Let me tell you a few stories that I know of, because it's stories that people can relate to. So a client just came in. I'm not going to give you their name, but they let someone in their computer that they shouldn't have. The guy probably called them on the phone, said, I'm from Microsoft. You got a virus on your computer. I need to get into your computer to fix it. And they let them do it. And they were on their computer for probably a few months. They had this service. They were paying for the monthly service. And this is a total scam. This guy placed a bunch of keystroke loggers on there and was starting to get enough information from them to make their lives really, really miserable. Well, fortunately, they came to us and we helped them get rid of all the junk on their computers. And we educated them, which is the most important part, which is exactly what I'm doing with you guys today. We educated them about not letting anyone into their computer unless you totally trust and know them. Don't call the number and don't just let anybody on your computer. I don't know how many times I can say that, but it's, I see so many people fall for that. Sometimes people are even on our monthly plan where we're their computer guy, and they'll still let some unknown person on their computer. And I say, well, why didn't you call us? Oh, I didn't know. I got worried and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's just a mistake on your part. You got to be really careful about that. Here's another story about a flower shop owner. This was a family-owned business. This was years ago. Family-owned business. They had this flower shop business that was basically paying all their bills for them. This is how they lived. This is what they lived off of. This is what was giving them paychecks every week. This flower shop was family-owned. They had it for over 40 years. And in 5 seconds, that whole business was done. Why? Because one of their employees accidentally clicked on something in an email. It encrypted all of their files, destroyed all of their data, and guess what? They did not have any type of security in place, and they did not have the proper backup in place to restore that data, so they had to close shop. That's really sad. After being in business for 40 years, they lost everything in just 5 seconds. Another scam is the Indeed scam. So there's a website, Indeed.com, where you go as an employer and you post ads for employees when you're looking for workers. And those employees respond with emails. They send you an email, and attached in that email, there's the key word there, attached. Be careful of files attached in emails. If you open up those attachments, that's the easiest way for a hacker to get into your computer. And a PDF attachment where you open with Acrobat Reader, those are the easiest ones that a hacker could write code into and get into your computer. So the Indeed scam was that these employers were putting ads out and hackers were responding to them. Oh, yes, I'd be perfect for the job. Here's my credentials. And they give you everything that you want to hear. Obviously, when that employer opens up that email and they open up that PDF attachment with their resume, that's when all hell takes place. And they start encrypting your data and they start stealing your information. That is the Indeed scam. That's how smart and sophisticated these guys are. They're taking every angle that they possibly can. Be careful of that one. So if, and most of the time it's just a matter of when your business falls victim to a cyber attack, what should you do? Well, depending on what happens, you will be blamed. There's no sympathy for your businesses who get hacked and you're wrongly labeled irresponsible. You may be questioned, possibly investigated about what did you do? What did you do to prevent this from happening in the first place? If you don't have the answers, if you don't have a good security in place, if you weren't proactive, if you don't have a good backup, then it doesn't make you look too good, and you're going to lose this case. You may need to notify clients that you expose their data to cyber criminals. Now they're going to have to change all their information, call their banks, call their credit cards, get all that information changed, or at least they were hacked, losing files and data, delaying projects, and halting services. If the news or if your competitors gets wind of it, they'll have a heyday with it, destroying your reputation. If somebody goes to them and says, hey, why should I use you over, company XYZ? Oh, well, did you hear that company XYZ got hacked a little while ago? Same thing happened with Dropbox a couple years ago. Millions and millions and millions of people got hacked in Dropbox. So when people ask me, should I use Dropbox? What do you think I tell them? I give them that story. So you shouldn't use Dropbox because of this and this and this. They had a security risk. Use another company, some of them that we recommend, that have never been hacked and have more securities in place. So how do you protect yourself? This is the most important part of the webinar. We're almost to the end here. I have a few more slides and then that's it. So how do you protect yourself? Here's a few ways. There's lots of different ways, especially for businesses. You should give us a call so we could really make sure you're protected. But just a few things that'll help you right now, right away. Don't ever use a public Wi-Fi, like at an airport or at Starbucks or something. Use your own hotspot on your phone or buy one from AT&T. They all sell these hotspots that you could take with you, and then at least you're on your own, because there could be somebody just waiting in the parking lot with their own little fake Wi-Fi that you're connecting to. And once you connect to their Wi-Fi, even at a hotel, then they could see everything that you're doing. They could capture everything on your keyboard, and they're just laughing away because they faked you into connecting to their Wi-Fi. So why take that chance? In the hotels, also, a lot of them have unsecured Wi-Fi. You'll see connected but unsecured. The word unsecured will come up. That means that they're not securing it. It's unsecured. It's not secured by a secure password. It's not encrypting any kind of data. It's just really dangerous. It's a really bad way to connect to the internet. So you may be thinking you're on a legit Wi-Fi connection, but instead you're connected to a hacker who is now gaining your information and accessing your camera even to see inside your house, inside your hotel room. I know that's a really scary thought, that they're just watching you the whole time. Sorry to laugh, but it's funny in the worst way. Setting up two-factor authentication right now. If you have any websites that you go to that you have sensitive data, like your bank, or has company information, or has your client data, and you need to log into those, even your Gmail, your email accounts, there's a way to set up something called two-factor authentication. You need to call your vendors, and ask them how to set that up. And what that is even if somebody had your password, what happens is you put in your username, you put in your password, hit enter, and then a special code will be sent to your phone. And you need to have that code from your phone to go any further. So unless somebody from another country is holding your phone, you could be pretty safe that just having that two-factor authentication will block them from getting into your account. This is really a must for anybody who uses email. Set up a password manager. I use something called LastPass. I don't know any of my passwords. So if you're using the same password across the board for all your sites, give yourself 2 slaps on the hand and 1 slap in the head right now. Because if somebody hacks one of your passwords, they're going to try it on a whole bunch of other sites, and then every single one of your sites will be hacked, and every one of your credit cards will be stolen, and all your client information. I mean, this list goes on and on and on. So again, I use a company called where they create these crazy passwords for me that are totally encrypted. The site is encrypted. It's very, very safe. And the less passwords that you know, like me, I don't know any of my passwords, the more secure you're going to be. If you could tell me you know all of your passwords, that's a pretty good warning sign right there that you're probably going to get hacked sooner or later, especially if you're using the same one across the board. Have a good backup system in place, meaning make sure it's web-based so that when your data goes to the cloud, that it's a legit company and that they have versions and history of your data. So if your data got hacked and encrypted on a Tuesday, you can go back to Monday's data and everything is safe. Don't just rely on a little external drive you bought at Best Buy, you plugged it into the side of your computer, because once that's backing up your data, if your data got encrypted, so will your backup drive. You have to go with these companies that are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars, if not billions, on these backup systems to protect your data. Layer your security, like we talked about. The more security and the more layers you have in place, the safer you'll be. And phishing, like sextortion, fake IRS scams, the fake water bill scam that one of my employees fell for the other day, fake virus alerts that come into your email. Be careful and be aware of all these things now that I'm talking about it. Next time someone calls you on the phone, you're either going to act like you're hard of hearing or you have some sort of impairment, which really, they get so annoyed. I've read my credit card back to some of these guys like 20 times. Can you read it back to me again? It's not working. It's not working. To the point where they just hang up on me and take me off their list, which is, I just have fun with it. That's just kind of a kick I get out of it. Sorry, I have to do it sometimes. Give them a little taste of their own medicine, you know. Hey, give them a little taste of it, yeah. So 3 really important things. Be smart, be aware, and be prepared. Don't be a sap. Get it? See the letters I highlighted in bold? SAP? You got that right. If you're not being proactive about all the stuff that I'm talking about, then you're a sap. I hate to say it. Don't be that guy or girl. 3 steps to protect your organization. What to do now if you're an employer. Number 1, get a threat assessment. What's lacking in your security right now? Are your systems truly backed up? Where are you exposed to risks? This is something that we'll do for you for free. We'll come to your office. If you're one of our existing clients, we've already done this for you, and we do it on a regular basis. Almost daily, we're making sure that you don't have any holes in your system. If there is, we just patch it up. But if you're not one of our clients, just give us a call. We'll come to your office and we'll make sure that we tighten everything up for you, at least give you some suggestions on what to do. Number 2, create an action plan and implement it. Based on what's discovered, an action plan is created and implemented to protect, and if when an attack happens, this prevents you from being an easy target. So make sure you have this in place. And again, we can help you with this if you don't have it. Number 3, ongoing maintenance. So be proactive about it. You definitely don't want to take a set it and forget it approach to security, because your attackers aren't, that's for sure. You have to be proactive. Get on a monthly plan. Make sure you have somebody that is watching your data every single day, 24/7, to make sure that you don't have any security risks or holes in your network. So the good news here, the first step is free network assessment, like I mentioned just before, for your organization. This is a $399 value. You can call us at 310-543-9946 to get this done for you. We'll just come to your office. There's absolutely no obligations there. To the people that you don't know me, I'm offering this to you as a means for establishing trust and to demonstrate how we can help you without any risk to you whatsoever. For the clients that already are using us, congratulations. You're definitely taking some proactive steps to make sure that you, your employees, your family, your networks, and your company is safe. When this risk assessment is completed, you're going to know if you and your employees' login credentials are being sold on the dark web. I can practically guarantee that one or more are, and we'll discover that for you. And what we will discover will definitely shock you, because most of the time I'm going to show you your passwords, at least a portion of it, and you're going to ask me, how did I get that? How did I know that? Just by using certain tools, dark web scans, we're able to see that. And this is what the hackers use as well, except they go several steps further and start to steal your information. I'm just educating you of what is out there, what they're seeing. If your IT systems and data are truly secured from hackers and cyber criminals, rogue employees and loss, I can't tell you how many businesses I've went to and saw that they're using a home router, they don't have a secured backup. These are the things that hackers will attack. They'll see this a mile away, and you're just an easy target. That low-hanging fruit is a lot easier for them to get to than the bigger guys. You'll get a health score for your network to determine areas that are outdated, unsupported, slow, or problematic, and how your networks rank against other companies of your size, your industry. We're going to close up all those holes. If you got a health score of 23 to 40, that's not good. We're going to give you tips and suggestions on how to get to 100. And if your current backup would allow you to restore 100% of your data and be up and running again fast if ransomware were to lock all your files. I ask a lot of people, when you have your backup in place, these are clients that are not customers that are not clients of ours on our monthly service, and I ask them what kind of backup they have in place. On your backup, do you get your reports monthly or weekly or daily? And when you do your restoration test to make sure that you can get your backup data, how is that process done? And they just look at me, like their whole face turns white. They have no idea what I'm talking about. They don't check their backups daily. They just assume it's being done. They don't run any kind of test to make sure that they can restore their data if something did get breached. And these are the kind of things that we will definitely help you with. Another thing that we're offering free today, you can get this on our website at any time. If you want to take a picture with your phone of that link that's on the bottom right, I know it's a lot to type out, but you can get to the file from here. This is what everybody should read. It's really good information. Protect your network, what every business owner must know about protecting and preserving their network. This is a free report that we'll give you. If you go to our website right now at itechcare247.com, on the bottom right, there's a small form to fill out, just your name, email, address, and first name, last name, email, something like that, something very simple, and we'll automatically send you this document. This is a must read for everybody, and it is free, so take advantage of it. Don't put this off thinking it can't happen to you. Won't happen to you. I know you're extremely busy and there's an enormous temptation to discard this, shrug it off, just worry about it later, or completely dismiss it altogether. That is undoubtedly the easy choice, but the easy choice is rarely the right choice. This I can guarantee. At some point, you will have to deal with a cybersecurity event. Hopefully, you'll be brilliantly prepared for it and experience only minor inconvenience at most, but if you wait and do nothing, I can practically guarantee this will be far more costly, disruptive, and devastating attack that will happen to your business. I mean, you've spent a lifetime working hard to get where you are today. Don't let some low-life thief operating outside the law in another country get away with taking that from you. Get the facts and be certain you're protected. Now, the other thing I want you to do is I want you to check out this movie. I have nothing to do with this movie, and I don't gain anything from it other than teaching people and educating people on cyber crime and hackers. This is an amazing movie that I watched the other day. It's called Cybercrime. So if you do a search for cybercrime on Amazon, you'll see this movie, a link to it. It is free for Amazon Prime members, and if you're not an Amazon Prime member, I believe to rent it is only $4. It will be the best $4 that you have ever spent, and for you guys watching it for free, it'll be the best 75 minutes that you'll ever spend as far as learning very simply about cyber attacks, cyber criminals, hackers, and how to deal with them proactively. I cannot stress this movie enough. I was really, really impressed the other day by watching it. I gave it a review on Amazon and highly, highly recommend it. It's called Cybercrime. Well, that does conclude our webinar today, folks. I really hope you had an a really good time and enjoyed what you saw. I know a lot of you are scared to death now and shaking in your pants, but don't worry, we're here to help you. Give us a call or email me directly at paul@itechcare247.com if you have any questions or concerns, or you can call our phone number 310-543-9946. Right now, we're going to open the floor to questions, and we're going to look at some of the Q&A questions that were sent in earlier. And if you have any questions, just click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen right now, type your question in there, and we'll do the best we can to answer all of them. If we don't get your question answered in a good amount of time, because we are limited, then just give us a call and we'll work with you directly. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you learned something today, and hopefully you'll be more proactive and stay safe out there on the internet. My name is Paul Monroe. Thanks for watching. We'll take some questions right now.